Once upon a time, in a kingdom far away, a kind and beautiful queen wished for a daughter. She gazed, "I wish for a child with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood." Her wish came true, and soon she gave birth to a baby girl whom she named Snow White. However, the queen did not live long after, and the king remarried a woman of breathtaking beauty, but a cold and wicked heart. The evil queen was vain and proud. She owned a magical mirror and asked it every day, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" For many years, the mirror always answered, "You, my queen, are the fairest of all." But as Snow White grew, her beauty blossomed, and one fateful day, the mirror gave a different answer. "Snow White is the fairest of them all." The queen's heart burned with jealousy. She could not bear the thought of anyone surpassing her beauty. "This girl must die," she hissed, and summoned the royal huntsman. The queen ordered the huntsman to take Snow White deep into the forest and kill her. She commanded. The huntsman led the innocent princess into the woods. Snow White had no idea of the danger she was in until she saw the sorrow in his eyes. As he raised his knife, she cried, "Please, spare me! I have done nothing wrong." The huntsman hesitated. His hands trembled. He could not harm such a pure and gentle girl. "Run, princess," he whispered. "Run far away and never return." Snow White fled into the dark forest, her heart pounding with fear. As night fell, Snow White wandered deeper into the forest, lost and afraid. Strange eyes peered at her from the shadows, and eerie sounds filled the air. At last, exhausted, she stumbled upon a small cottage hidden among the trees. Curious, she stepped inside. The house was tiny but tidy, with 7 little chairs, 7 tiny beds, and 7 bowls of porridge. She was so hungry that she tasted a little from each bowl. Feeling sleepy, she curled up on one of the small beds and drifted into slumber. At dawn, the dwarfs returned from their work in the mines. They were surprised to find someone in their home. "Who is this girl?" Grumpy grumbled. "She looks like an angel," Dwarf whispered. Snow White awoke and, seeing their kind faces, explained her story. The dwarfs took pity on her. "Stay with us," said Dwarf. "You can keep our house tidy, and we will protect you." Snow White agreed and lived happily with the dwarfs, helping them cook, clean, and sew. Meanwhile, back at the castle, the queen once again asked her mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" The mirror replied, "Snow White, living in the woods with the 7 dwarfs, is the fairest of them all." The queen's rage was uncontrollable. "She is still alive," she screeched. Determined to kill Snow White herself, she disguised herself as an old peddler woman and set off into the woods. Next, the queen disguised herself and brought a poisoned comb. "Brush your lovely hair, child," she cooed. As soon as the comb touched Snow White's scalp, she fell unconscious. Again, the dwarfs saved her, removing the comb and breaking the spell. Furious that Snow White still lived, the queen made one final deadly plan. She poisoned a bright red apple, making one side harmless and the other full of poison. Disguised as a harmless old woman, she returned to the cottage. "Would you like a sweet apple, dear?" she asked, holding it out. Snow White, remembering the dwarf's warnings, hesitated. "Look, it is delicious." Snow White, thinking it was safe, bit into the poisoned side and collapsed to the ground, lifeless. The dwarfs were heartbroken. They placed Snow White in a glass coffin, unable to bury her because she looked as if she were only sleeping. One day, a handsome prince passed through the forest and saw the coffin. He was enchanted by Snow White's beauty and fell in love with her at first sight. "Please let me take her to my palace," he pleaded with the dwarfs. As his servants lifted the coffin, the piece of poisoned apple dislodged from her throat. Snow White gasped for breath and opened her eyes. The dwarfs cheered with joy, and the prince knelt before her. "You are awake, my princess," he said. "Will you come with me and be my queen?" Snow White, grateful and full of love for the prince, agreed. Back at the castle, the evil queen once again asked her mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" The mirror answered, "Snow White, the new queen, is the fairest of them all." The queen screamed in fury, but before she could do anything, she was banished from the kingdom forever. Snow White and the prince were married in a grand celebration, and the dwarves were honored guests. The kingdom rejoiced, and Snow White ruled with kindness and grace.